Hello, welcome to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry, and this is Finish It Friday. See what I've finished and see what some of you have finished. I can tell you what I've worked on. I did do Mark's quilt. I long-armed it, and he has since bound it. I think he's about ready to have his video ready, so go over to Quilters Architect maybe early in the week, possibly this weekend, and see if he has that video out yet. It's a new scrap busting project. I gave him another bag of scraps, so he's busted them and done something with them. So look for that, Quilters Architect. I hear Blue. Hold on just a second. Time for Finish It Friday, Blue. He's been a little bit aggravated at me today because I was running the long arm, and he just doesn't really like the long arm. It's too noisy. Just cuts into his doggy time too, because I can't leave it. I can't GOOTSIDE with him and all of that. So he's just been kind of bored and laying around. So before we came out here, I let him run around outside. So he's just made his way back in. How are you doing, Mr. Blue? How are you doing? How are things? You smell like dirt. Have you been digging? I bet you have. The other day, I came out of here and he was splat dab in the middle of the backyard, just sitting. He was like doing squirrel patrol or something. There wasn't a squirrel in sight, by the way. You ready to lay down? Let's lay down. Yeah. Let's lay down. All right. He usually gets down and then gets back up. We'll see if he does. No, he's staying down there this time. So, Mr. Blue settled in now so I can finish telling you what I've been doing this week. So anyway, I long-armed his quilt. So that was one thing I got finished completely. And then also I long-armed one of my quilts because we're in long-arm extravaganza. And so I chose to do like a full-size quilt, not a couple of little ones or anything like that. And you will remember this, and I'm going to start putting some pictures up right now of it. This is the Pieceful baskets, and it's made out of Adele in Summer. And this was the Sew Sampler Sew Along last year. So if you're not a Sew Sampler box member, then you may have, you did, you missed out on this one. But there was a basket block every month, and it is kind of a mystery as to how you do it, I guess. They had done it up in a certain type of fabric, a certain line of fabric, and so I used my own fabric, so I didn't know exactly how. It was kind of a self-made mystery block of the month for me, because I didn't know exactly how they were all going to go together and if I was going to have enough fabric and this, that, and the other. I had some yardage and a layer cake, but I made it work. I think I did have to get some of that white there in between. I believe I did. Yes, I did. And then I think everything else I had. I may have gotten some of those large sashing pieces. I had to get some more yardage for that, I think, but I'm not for sure. Starting to forget now because I finished this early in the spring. And that's when the new one starts over, which is the flowering block, which you've seen me show you each month so far on that. I think we're up through number 6 now, I believe. So, at the end of that, you get a wonderful quilt top out of it. I did the finishing at the last on that one. Instead of doing it like the designer mystery right now, I'm doing it, the finishing with the monthly blocks, which is helping out tremendously. But this one I had to do all the finishing at the end, and that was quite a lot of work to get that all put together, but it's worth it to put a little extra pizzazz in between those blocks with those sawtooth stars, and then there's kind of a square and a square center to each one of those too. So you can see that I used, it's a Denise Schmidt yellow backing for it. I don't know if you can see that or not. I haven't trimmed it off the long arm yet, so if you can kind of see that yellow there, you're probably looking at the wrong side of it. But it's a bright lemony yellow that goes with the yellows at the front of the quilt, and it kind of has a basket weave to it. So I thought that was good. I had picked that up on sale, I believe, from, I want to say Marshall Dry Goods had some new Riley Blake backings in, and when they announced that through email, I picked up a few different ones, and I had that one in mind for this quilt. So the pantograph, as you can see, is a kind of a daisy pattern. I think it's called double daisies. I'm not for sure. It was off of the Pro Stitcher that was on the machine when I got it. I don't remember who designed it, but there's a whole bunch of designers on there in the library of patterns, and I just picked one from there, and this is the one that I picked. I think it turned out really well. I believe it was a 12.5-inch tall pattern, and I shrunk it down to 10, I believe. 10 or 10.5, I'm not sure. That's about as big as you can get on the Moxie XL. It's all the throat space you're going to have, but you do have to roll it up each and every time, which I prefer to do anyway, instead of running several rows at the same time. Seems like I have mishaps when one is like that. It seems convenient. Just take it to the other end and let it start off again, but for some reason, it doesn't really line up good like I want. Or I have some other weird problem with it. So if I can drag and drop each time the design as I roll it up, it does better for me. That's just my experience. I'm sure there's a better way, because there's always a better way. Anyway, that is finished. I don't know what I'm going to long arm next, but I think I'm going to have to make some backings for some of the smaller ones that I have. I don't have very many backings already prepared, so maybe I can do something like that this weekend. Also, if you watched Wednesday's video, again, bless your heart, that was a long video as well, but it had to be that long just to get all the information in. But it was the next month of the Garden Charm, and if you didn't watch the video, this is what I made. And I need to make 8 of these, 4 one way and then 4 a mirror image. I did get all of my pieces prepared and ready to be adhered onto the block and stitched down. So far I have pinned on my stems on all 7. So I'm trying to get it to where I can do all the green thread stuff first, and then go through and do the reds and then the yellows. So I'm going to kind of keep going on these for a while. I stopped completely on the Peach Preserves. You saw it last time. It's done. It just needs to be, the wedges need to be sewn together, and then the rows need to be sewn together. It's still at that same point. So that is pretty much everything that I did this week. Long arming takes a while, and then I'm held captive in the house, so it's harder to come out here in between stitching out rows and really get anything done. Actually, I don't do that. So yes, I could sew inside the house if Mark's not sewing, but a lot of times he's over there sewing, so you know, there's no other room for another sewing machine. I have another sewing machine, but there's not any more room in there to put another sewing machine, and I'm not going to put another one out. So that's what I got done. So now let's go on to what you have gotten done this week. First up, we have Shannon. Shannon has made one of my sweatshirts, but she actually used a regular type of long sleeve t-shirt instead of a hoodie or a sweatshirt, which works fine, as you can see. She's got reds and blues here on hers. Turned out really nice. She says, I got on the reverse applique train. I'm hot-natured and a hoodie is just too hot for me. So I tried it on a long sleeve t-shirt. It worked and was so much fun. I'll be doing this again. And she says, I love watching you and your hubby's channel. You inspire. Thank you so much, Shannon. And thank you for sharing your shirt. I love to see all of you send in pictures of projects that I have inspired you with. The next one is from Darla, and this is pretty special. She says, this quilt was made as a second grade project. Each kid drew a self-portrait. I converted them to embroidery and made this quilt out of it. The pattern is Horizon Lines, purchased on Etsy. The auction happened this past weekend. Actually, it was probably about 2 weeks ago now. And the quilt sold for $1,200, and the proceeds goes to the school. And there are several pictures attached here. So I'm going to try to use what I can. But I just want to mention that we've got all the kids there picking out their blocks that they made, that they drew, and then Darla actually embroidered each of them. You got a nice label on there as well. This is really cool. Very good. Very good. So you had an auction and you got $1,200 for it. Very nice. And the kids were probably so thrilled with that. Kayleen has a scrap quilt. She says, hey Sherry, love your new haircut. Thank you. Here is a project I finished recently for a class I'll be teaching soon. The pattern is called The Big Giant Quilted Bow by Lindsay Grace Creates. I made this one reversible so it's fall on one side and winter on the other. I used flex foam instead of batting, so hopefully it holds its shape outside in the elements for a while. I also finally finished the quilt pillow shams I made to match a quilt I sent in a while back. Okay, so there's her bow. Nice. And you used foam inside of it. Interesting. Well, it gives it a lot of nice body. And I love the autumn theme. And then here is her pillow shams that she finished up to go with this quilt that she had made that we've seen before. Turned out nice. Good job. Next we have Darlene. Darlene is having Table Runner Lollapalooza over in her neck of the woods. She says, I finished 15 of them, plus some placemats. Thank you for all you do. You inspire me to get stuff done and curb my fabric addiction. Well, it's a 12-step program, isn't it? And we have to have these group meetings once in a while. Anyway, she sent 3 of them here. One of them is a very delicate rose pattern with some light pinks and light greens. Very cool. And a French braid down the center. The other one is an aqua background with some, I want to say those are like quilt as you go, or might be paper pieced blocks in there. There's a lot of detail with the piecing on that one. And then the other one is an autumn themed one. And I love this with the pumpkins, but also the, I'm going to call it kind of like a rail fence that you've put in all the way around it. I think that's pretty cool. Did you make that up? If you did, you're a genius. Very good idea. Keep it up with your Table Runner Lollapalooza. Eventually you'll get near the end of them, and then you'll start making more. I have one here. I don't have a name for it. I'm going to say it's RS. And this is very cute. It's a little quilt made up in lavenders and other kind of pastel colors, I'd call it. And you've got kind of a twisting flower there with cornerstones in the center to stabilize everything, and then also your nice wide print border there. It looks a little retro. I think that's one of the things I really like about it, is the retro fabrics. And then you see here she's put Minky on the back in a rich lavender color and a beautiful daisy pattern. She said she made this for one of her great-grandnieces in another state, and she hears she's loving it. She quilted it on her Amara long arm in this cute daisy design on purple Minky, as she loves purple. I hope you like it too. I absolutely like it, and I'm thrilled that the great-grandniece loves it as well. Great job on this. Next is Jasenia. She says, "Hi Sherry, this is one of the quilts I finished. Thought you can share it on Finish It Friday if you like." Absolutely. She says she's still learning, but look at this beautiful quilt she made. It looks great. Dresden plate. And she's got extra large centers with some newsprint background, and then another center on top of that. That's pretty neat looking. Got some sawtooth stars in between, and it looks like you're using some Tranquility fabric from Kim Deal. Love it. It just looks like something that came from the antique store, except new. Very good job. Very good placement of colors and choice of colors and all of that. I have several things from Pam. Pam has finished I'll call it a table topper, the green one here, and she's used a lot of angled blocks in kind of an abstract manner. I'll call it improv. Good job. You've got some kind of pebble type quilting on there. Very good. And then the other one is an octagon in white, cream, and black. And you're doing really good with your quilting on there, girl. You're getting good. That's a nice one there, nice and neutral. You could use that any season, anywhere. She says the green one was inspired by an apple green and caramel colored quilt in the fall APQ magazine. But she says hers is 100% scraps. I used both paper pieces and a ruler set called Peaky and Spikes. That's the one on the green. Both were challenging. The black and gold silver, okay, so it's black, gold, and silver, was from a pattern that I got for $1 at a thrift store. I ultimately decided to buy a 10-inch 60-degree ruler that was used, and that was the key to success. Still have 4 more $1 patterns to work with. So stay tuned. We will be here waiting. She sends a hug for my efforts to inspire you. I'm sending a hug back. Very nice job. She also sent another one a few days later. It's a table topper that crab lovers will enjoy, that she's really just using as a practice project for some good fabric she's going to use for it later on. So she's following her own advice to learn something new every day. So the back is actually the crab fabric. I love the crab fabric. And then the front are these wonderful pieced stars. Paper piecing, I guess, is what you did on that. Or maybe one of those fancy rulers you have. So nice colors. I think this is, you said you're doing something with the good fabric, doing this with the good fabric later on. This is just a practice piece, but I think it's fine as a perfectly good finished quilt. Marjorie has her Soul Blossoms finished. Now listen to this. This is beautiful. She says, I really enjoy your videos. Thanks for sharing all your hard work and lessons learned. Well, you're welcome. Here is my Soul Blossom quilt from your video. I added extra blocks so all the edges were the same. Check that out. That is clever. I wish I would have thought of that. I really wish I would have thought of that. So on the pattern, the side outer borders are different from the top and the bottom. So what she did is she went ahead and added, I don't know to which ones, if it was the side ones or the top and bottom, to make them look the same. And I like that. I like that better. So if I ever make this pattern again, I'm going to do it like this. You're a genius. And then the other one she says, also made a potato chip quilt with a sew and flip contrasting fabric to make the friendship stars. And in parentheses, she has potato ship. This was my daughter's leftover fabric and is so busy. I decided it needed a solid color for the eye to rest. Keep up your hard work. I will. So, yeah, I see, you know, you really have to look at this. She did for some of the potato chip blocks, she did stitch and flips, which created these friendship stars, which is interesting. Well, you're just a smarty pants. Yeah, you're just doing some stuff there that I want to do, but I don't think of it. Nice quilting too. Great job. And then we have Pat from Washington State. She says, "Hi Sherry, I was cleaning out my scraps and found 3 boxes of leader and ender projects I had made some time ago. So I made up a design using them and only had to make a few more to finish out the top. It's 51 by 57. She's going to add a border. It was great to empty out some containers and to see fabrics from the past. Isn't that the great thing about scrappy quilts? You get to reminisce about the projects you've done in the past. Would you see them? Awesome. You emptied 3 boxes of leader and ender projects? Wow. That's awesome. I'm assuming all 3 because you said you still had to make just a few more to finish it. I love your design. Your design is excellent. So you've got your kind of color block, I guess, blocks on the outside. And then those kind of have that dark background look to it. And then opposite that, you have the ones with the light backgrounds with the plus. So, yeah, very good design. Very good use of scraps and organizing scraps into a organized scrappy. So, there's many ways you can make quilts out of scraps. You can just throw them all together, or you can make a pattern to organize them. And that's what Pat did here, and it turned out good. I think I would put a border on that. Maybe something light? Not sure. Maybe you can send it again so we can see what you decide. Okay, that's it for this week. Thank you so much, and we'll get back to the video now. Talking about auctioning a quilt, the auction is over for the quilt. The quilt is gone. The quilt has made it to its destination, and it was won by Anita here in the state of Indiana. So congratulations, Anita. Thank you so much for your generous donation. It went for $405. That was very nice. I think that's the second best that we've done on a quilt. So very good, very good. I don't know if I'll be able to get another one out this year from your all's pieces that you sent. Now I might auction another quilt of mine, or if you want to auction another quilt of yours and donate to the World Humane Society, feel free to do so. If you do that on eBay, you can just have the money sent directly to the Humane Society from the proceeds once the person pays for it. So it's very, very convenient. There are some nominal fees, but it's not exorbitant. And then you can always have the winner, the winning bidder, pay their own shipping if you want. I donate the shipping myself, but you can do that. And if you do, let us know that you're doing that so that I can talk about it here on the channel and get more coverage as far as, you know, letting people know that it's there. And that would help as well. So yeah, I might look and see what I have and do another one. Just a project from it might not even be a boutique quilt. I've done that before. So yeah, that's good. More money to help the animals. And let's see, I would love to make up some backings that I need to piece up for some smaller quilts that I have to put on the long arm this weekend. Maybe at least one of those, and then probably flowing into Monday, I'll have time to do another one. Yeah, a little disappointment in one aspect is one of my 16 patches that I've done in the burgundy. I had ordered a big piece of minky for it, and I got that out to do it first, and the minky is only 60 wide. So I don't know if it was my mistake or the company that sent it to me. I don't remember. I don't have any remembrance of where I got it from. I'm sure I could go look in my receipts and see, but are they going to fix it now if it's their fault? I doubt it, because it was like last year this time. So I'll just use that for something else. I'll either piece it for a little bit smaller quilt, or I don't know, I'll do something with it. Anyway, I'm just not going to think about it. So I was going to start with that one, but I didn't. But then I had everything ready for the Pieceful baskets, so I went ahead and did that one. So I'm going to put another one on the long arm this weekend, at least one. And then I'm going to continue on with this. I'm going to stitch these down in the green and then go ahead and do my leaves in the green for all of these. And continue working on this throughout the month before we get to December for the next part of that block of the month. In between, if I have time and feel like it, I'll start putting peach preserves together. Or who knows, I might start a new project. You just never know. You just never know. Also, now that I've got everything cut for the summer wedding, I need to start kind of dabbling in that a little bit too. So there's always something to do. It's so much fun. And I hope you're having fun too. And please get in your sewing room this weekend and poke around in there and do a few things and get motivated to get projects done or get things arranged in a way where it's easier for you to get your projects done. All right, have a great weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye.